enough so that it won't permeate the pores of the jicama too much. So I'll put the jicama, in the pan here. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the Pico de Gallo. I'm going to spread it across the bottom of the pan like this. Now, with this particular root stock, I keep calling it stock, root products, what I like to do is I like to not just fry it, I like to steam it. And to steam it, all I need to do is, and this helps, by the way, I need to interject here, this also helps reduce the amount of oil that I'm using so that we're being sparingly about our oil use for food. I like to cover it with the lid, and I like to let it sit and let it cook itself. So I have oil in there now, no water, only oil. However, I will add water. So for a minute, I'm going to leave this sit for a minute, and I'll be back with the water. Stirring it once is good so it doesn't burn. Once again, I don't like that burnt flavor, and when you're working with high heat pans, you don't want it to do that. So you definitely need to turn it over and then put the lid on. If by chance you accidentally leave it and it burns the bottom of it, what's going to happen is when you add that water is going to absorb that flavor of the burnt product. Now when I say burnt, I don't mean like completely burnt like black. I mean even just a tad bit burnt. That changes the flavor. And for those of you who have cooked before or who have been cooking for many years, you understand that. But for those who haven't or who don't or who aren't familiar with the jicama or some of these other products that you use for Mexican food, to get that Mexican flavor, you definitely want to make sure that you don't even slightly burn the product in the pan. And I'll be back with water. It's going to take a few minutes here. And this will be the third time that I'm stirring it. And when I lift that lid, I can smell that flavor just exude out of there. It just smells good. What I'm looking for now is the jicama itself to heat up all the way through. Jicama I have beaten raw. I'm not saying that you would like it raw, but jicama is not like a potato. I mean, it is, but it isn't. You can eat this raw. It's like a radish. The texture's like a radish, but it's not a radish. It's a root, although radish is a root as well. It's kind of like in between a potato and a radish. So eating it raw, it hasn't hurt me. I haven't had any bad side effects from it at all. And a lot of people eat jicama, and so it's not a severe situation if you don't heat it up completely. That's what the point I'm trying to make here. It just depends on your personal taste and what you like. Me personally, I wanted to release the flavor, and I like it permeated. I have little holes in here, so I just put it on the side there. This is a tempered glass, especially for cooking. I only put a little bit of water, not too much, because I don't want to saturate the jicama and lose the flavor. Too much water, if you remember the chicken stock video, or the video with the chicken stock in it, it pulls that flavor out of the product. Too much water. You only need a little bit of water in the jicama just to make it continue cooking and permeate it all the way through, if that's what you like. If you're not concerned about it being permeated all the way through and you'd like to just eat it halfway heated up, that's up to you. Alright, I had actually put a little bit too much in there, even myself, by accident. So what I did is I took it over to the sink and poured out some of it so that it's like this now. You can see that there's not a lot of liquid at the bottom, and I did that on purpose. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it up a little bit towards the high heat, so this can, I'm going to not crispy, but I'm going to harden a little bit the outside because right now it's a little softer than I like. Now if I had not waited so long, which was just about 2 minutes, then it wouldn't have softened up that much. And that's okay. You just have to work with it here and there sometimes. So to work with it, I decided to raise the heat so that I can make the outside just a little bit crispier than it is. Not too much. As a matter of fact, I don't even need the lid anymore. And the pan is hot enough to be able to toss it and receive results. The results that I'm looking for anyway. And when it starts sticking to the pan, you know you're getting your results. And it's starting to stick to the pan just a little bit. All these little minor details, you know. And I can smell it. I can smell it, and now it's time to turn it off. As soon as you smell it, turn it off. Yes. These products release their flavors in phases. Quite interesting. So here's our tortilla. I like flour tortillas. I'm not really into the corn tortilla. Me personally, the corn tortilla is a little bit too thick for me, and I prefer the flour tortilla. I do have to be more careful with how much I eat because this is more fattening. So I'll go ahead and add the cheese. And then I'll add the jicama. And I'm not very good at folding tortillas, but I did the best that I can. And now I have a little bit of a burrito. And with that, I have my jicama, cheese, tortilla, so I have my rootstock, my dairy product, my grain, and I have my vegetables. And that was my dad. And I've added some little tiny tortillas that they've made into scoops. I like these. And I can use the Pico de Gallo for these.